Hey up and welcome back to Arnhem and some more combat mission Battle for Normandy. In the last video I got my British Airborne across into this block of buildings on the right, and the plan is push up through this, clear it out, get into the objective. So this is really tactical problem number 2. How do I get through these buildings and destroy the enemy quickly without taking too many casualties? Well, it's simply a matter of finding enemy positions and then bringing in overwhelming firepower until they die or run away. And that's really it. From my opponent's point of view, there isn't much he can do except capitalise on any mistakes I make, try to kill as many men as he can and try to slow me down. This whole thing is basically coming down to a race against the clock. Can I crush him in time to clear out the objective before the time limit's up? Which is pretty much exactly what happened at Arnhem Bridge, incidentally. Anyway, I've got a few things going for me here. First of all, because of the building layout, I can mouse hole my way all along the outer edge here. Mouse holing simply means blowing holes through the connecting walls between the houses, so my men don't have to run out into the street and get shot. And I'm trying to vary which floors I blow up and how I clear the houses from top to bottom or bottom to top, trying not to be overly predictable. It's also pretty unpleasant for any Fallschirmjäger who are on the other side of the wall, which is always a bonus. My other big infantry tool for all this house clearing is the most aggressive piece of portable plumbing in the world. It's the Sten gun, which is the cheap, nasty alternative that the Brits found to the very expensive Thompson, and my paras have 3 or 4 at least in every squad. And obviously having squads brimful of automatic weapons is a must for urban warfare, and the big disadvantage of the Sten that it's quite a short range weapon doesn't particularly apply. Backing up my infantry is some armour, most importantly a couple of these monstrosities you can see going along the riverside. The Churchill Crocodile flamethrower tank, and I'm using the crocodiles to burn out any enemy or suspected enemy positions. The flamethrowers have a range of about 80 metres, so I can keep the tank well back behind my infantry to avoid any nasty handheld German surprises. Their other flank is the river, which is totally safe, and the Churchill's thick frontal armour is facing up the riverside directly at the most likely anti-tank gun position. And the Crocs also have smoke launchers or a smoke mortar, which I've been using when I need to put up a quick smoke screen a little way in front to help my infantry out. I also have some Crusader AA tanks hanging around even further back because nothing tears buildings down like the 20mm automatic cannon fire. At the moment they're mostly firing up the main road in the middle because we keep seeing Germans up there. Finally, to top it all off, I have the artillery. The main problem with artillery in an urban area is that you can't really see the target, and you're definitely not going to be seeing any spotting rounds coming in. So I've brought a load of target reference points with me and set them up around the block that I'm attacking so that I can pretty much hit anywhere I like. The two 25-pounder batteries I've got are only 88mm, and they aren't going to do a lot of damage to the buildings themselves or the Germans inside, but it should suppress them, and again it's about reducing their freedom of movement because it's not a good idea to be running around outside. But at the end of the day, despite all the support, it's the infantry who are doing the running, the fighting and the dying here. Urban warfare like this is very manpower intensive, and I have almost the full battalion's worth of men to throw at this. And generally speaking, there isn't really anything else to talk about tactically. All of this is flowing from the decision early on to hit a small area as hard as possible and just steamroller it. I actually want to meet resistance because finding the enemy is the most difficult thing here as long as I'm being careful. After a brief hiccup involving a very stubborn anti-tank gun up the riverside that managed to kill a few of my paras each time I thought I bombed it enough to kill it, I've gotten to the end of the bridge itself, where I've been reckoning General is going to make his stand. Up until now he's been trying to slow me down, pick off my men as and when he can, go after the crocodiles. But now I think I'm going to reach his main line of resistance simply because he's running out of space. Get a little bit distracted with the camera by a bombed out straggler causing problems in the ruins there, but across the street General's ordered his men to finally open fire en masse. and the Fallschirmjäger are giving it everything they've got to my lead troops. Of course, I take some casualties. The weight of fire that is coming out pins some of my troops down, suppresses them. Annoyingly, actually, some of the buildings that got destroyed by the artillery are giving the enemy a clear field of fire, but after the initial shock, it's just business as usual. Throw a few men across to clear the next houses up on the right hand side. That lets me bring the crocodile up fairly safely. We start burning out the enemy strong points. The artillery's already been called in. It's just now a matter of suppressing the enemy, closing with him, and destroying him. It's the same problem as I've been dealing with all the way up that block, it's just on a larger scale. The crucial issue here though is time. It's taken me an hour to get up here and start clearing the objective under the bridge. That leaves me with another hour to finish off securing it and then to swing left, clear the embankment and all the other buildings in the objective, which is a pretty tall order. Balancing that out is the fact that because of the way the victory conditions work, if I can't totally clear the objective, then the game will come down to who suffered the least casualties, percentage wise. So the question is, can I totally clear every single German out of the objective? Which basically involves clearing each and every building and anywhere else they might be hiding in an hour. That seems like a tall order. I don't know how many of General Men's I've bypassed and how many might be lurking about in depth. And if I'm going to try and do it, am I going to be able to do it with the minimum of casualties? Again, don't know what he's got up his sleeve. In the end, I decided to have a go. So I've put another smoke barrage down and have had a bit of a mad charge through it to try and clear out the bridge side buildings of the other housing block that I didn't go through. But they run into some very serious resistance, and the troops I have back in my deployment zone, which started to push up into that block from the other side, also ran into some serious fire, so I've decided it's best not to risk it. I'm probably in a winning situation as it is. I don't want to go throwing that away with a shed load of casualties. And eventually we both decided that there wasn't very much going on, neither of us were going to push, and we ceasefire at the 15 minutes to the end mark, leaving me with a minor victory. So as it was, General successfully delayed me. He slowed me down through little ambushes and by forcing me to thoroughly clear out all the houses that I had to go through, but at the same time I was wiping him out under the steamroller. Overall casualties wise, it always feels worse than it is. I lost 66 men killed, 68 men wounded, and one of the crocodiles took a Panzerschreck to the turret because I didn't screen off its left flank. It was a very good shot from the Panzerschreck as well. And General had 60 men left at the end who were putting out an inordinate amount of firepower for so few men, but that's how it works. He lost 175 men killed and 114 wounded. So that's it from the Ruins of Arnhem. Don't forget to comment, rate and subscribe, guys. I've got 4 play-by-email games on the go at once now. 1 Red Thunder out on the Eastern Front in World War II, and 3 Modern Warfare ones with the Black Sea game in the Ukraine in 2017. So there's plenty more combat mission videos in the pipeline as soon as those games get finished. In the meantime, I hope you all enjoyed this one. I'll catch you in the next video.